Hello, good evening. This is the big quiz number 3. It may well be past the peak, but I'm still going. This is quiz number 3. So, I hope you can hear me. If you can't, fire it into the comments and I will try and rectify it. I have had a few issues with the back end this evening. Hopefully that's now resolved. So, tonight's big quiz, it's probably a little bit harder than last time. I think there's a few different variations this week, but normal rules apply. I'll ask the questions, you write down the answers somehow, and I'll give you some sort of answers as and when I can. Right, okay. So to kick things off, I'm wanting to start with something a little bit different. This is the TV cut and shut round. You can't hear me. Right, okay. Stand by. Oh, you can hear. Sorry. Right. I've misread my own screen. Sorry, Andy. Right. Okay. So this first round is the TV cut and shut round. So this what you'll see here is clips of some fairly well recognised television programmes with different music. So your task is to name both the television programme and the music that accompanies it. There is one programme that appears twice. That is intentional, but hopefully you can guess both the television programme and the music. Right, this is the TV cut and shut round. Here we go. Okay, so that was the first round, the TV cut and shut round. So hopefully you got all of that. So I was wanting both the television program and the music that accompanied it. Okay, so moving on to the Captain Tom Appreciate. All right, so to kick off the Captain Tom's obviously had a amazing couple of weeks. Hopefully he's around for a bit longer, but can rest up a little bit. The first question of tonight's Captain Tom round is as follows. Captain Tom was born in 1920 in which West Yorkshire market town? Captain Tom was born in 1920 in which West Yorkshire market town? Question 2. In 1983, Captain Tom appeared on the Christmas edition of which game show? In 1983, Captain Tom appeared on the Christmas edition of which game show? Question 3. Captain Tom and portly crooner Michael Ball made it to the top of the UK charts a week or so ago, but who did they displace at number 1? Captain Tom and Michael Ball made it to the top of the charts, but who did they displace at number 1? Question 4. Which school hall was used to store all of the 100th birthday cards sent to Captain Tom? Which school hall was used to store all of the 100th birthday cards sent to Captain Tom? Question 5. Which 2 Royal Air Force aeroplanes flew over Tom's house on his 100th birthday? They are the actual 2. Which 2 Royal Air Force aeroplanes flew over Captain Tom's house on his 100th birthday? Question 6. How many medals was Tom wearing on his 100th birthday? You can see one there, and there's a few stashed away under that red square. So how many medals was Tom wearing on his 100th birthday? Question 7. What was Captain Tom's original fundraising target on his Just Giving page? What was his original target? And the final question in this round, how much has Captain Tom raised as of, well, now? How much has Captain Tom raised as of today? To the closest million. Okay, so that was round 2, the Captain Tom appreciation round. I think it's fair to say after the TV cut and shut, that probably is the peak of tonight's quiz, so it is probably downhill from here. But we move on to round 3, which is Name the Tash. So, quite simply, just name the Tash. I'll give you a little bit of time on this, so there's a mixed bag there, but until, I'll give you about a minute. If you could name all 9, that would be tremendous. Okay, so I'll just give you sort of 30 more seconds on the Tashas and then we'll move on. Okay, that's enough of that. Thank you for the moustache round. Right, okay, so moving on. The next round is inspired by the recent ITV Millionaire series. So if you may have seen it, all about the Charles Ingram court case and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So I haven't used Major Charles Ingram, but I've used another person who actually won the full million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So what the next round entails is you basically trying to answer all of the questions to get to £1 million, as he did. So I've clipped up the questions. I've removed the sort of Chris Tarrant pontificating, and I'll give you all of the questions again at the end. But I'll go through them with Chris in the first instance. So, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Just to also add, I have actually skipped the first couple of very easy questions, so I think we're in at the sort of £1,000 mark. So here we go.
10 questions between you and £1 million. You got 3 lifelines. Have a look at number 6. What type of vehicle was a Saturn V? What type of vehicle was a Saturn V? High-speed train, cross-channel ferry, space rocket, hot air balloon. The song Get Me to the Church on Time is featured in which musical?
So that was the song Get Me to the Church on Time is featured in which musical? The first question was, what is a Saturn V? Okay, let's move on.
The DB range is associated with which car manufacturer? Aston Martin, Jaguar, Morgan, Rolls-Royce. Question number 8 is for 8,000. What does a cryptologist study? Churches, codes, sea creatures, architecture.
If you do need any of these again, just shout in the comments and I will play them again. I will move through them quite quickly though.
In the 18th century, Capability Brown was best known for designing what? You're doing that look again, aren't you? Wigs, has it come up yet?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see. Pottery?
No.
Theatre sets?
No.
Gardens?
Yeah.
I did intend to clip off the final bit of that one, but didn't get around to it. So, moving on.
Which 20th century poet wrote The Wasteland? Which of these is a type of flower? Graham, George, Gordon, Gerald. Which of these African countries is situated south of the equator? Ethiopia, Nigeria, Zambia, Chad. Question number 15 for £1 million. Here it is, you've got one lifeline. Which scientific unit is named after an Italian nobleman? Pascal, ohm, volt, hertz.
Okay, so there you have it. That was the questions that got that guy £1 million. So I'll just go through a couple of people have asked I'll go through them. What type of vehicle was a Saturn V? Which song, the song Get Me to the Church on Time is featured in which musical? What does a cryptologist study? I think that may have been after. The DB range is associated with which car manufacturer? In the 18th century, Capability Brown was best known for designing what? Wigs, theatre sets, pottery or gardens? Which 20th century poet wrote The Wastelands? Was it Rupert Brooke, Ted Hughes, John Betjeman or T.S. Eliot? Did we have that one? I'm not sure. Which of these is a type of flower? Graham, George, Gordon or Gerald? Which town provided the setting for TV's Little House on the Prairie? Hazelnut Creek, Coconut Bay, Walnut Grove, Chestnut Wood. Which of these African countries is situated south of the equator? Ethiopia, Nigeria, Zambia or Chad? Which scientific unit is named for £1 million? Which scientific unit is named after an Italian nobleman? Pascal, ohm, volt or hertz? All right, so hopefully that was fairly easy to follow. He got £1 million. I will be back with the answers on that a little bit later. So next one, and this is another sort of one where I can sit back and don't need to ask the questions. This is all about naming the comedy character, but I'd also like the comedy character and the show that they were in. So I'd like both. So there's 2 answers for each part of this picture. So I'm going to let you have the next couple of minutes to mull through this. And then we'll be back with some answers to the first few rounds. So just to confirm, I'd like both the name of the comedy character and the show that they appear in, please. So there's 2 answers for each segment. Okay, 30-second warning, and then we'll give you some answers. Okay, so we're back. That was sort of name the comedy character slash show. I'm going to give you some answers. So, first question was, the first round, in fact, was the TV cut and shut round. So, to kick off, we had Rainbow spliced up with George Michael. Rainbow with George Michael. I thought that worked quite well. The late Jeffrey Hayes strutting his stuff. Question 2 was Postman Pat to the tune, theme tune from Beverly Hills Cop. Question 3 was The Verve, Richard Ashcroft from The Verve, and the tune was The Mr. Men. Question 4 was obviously Fireman Sam and obviously the James Bond theme music. I can't remember what question 5 was. We'll come back to question 5. I need to double check that. Question 6 was the Wombles, set to the music of Casualty. And question 7 was also Postman Pat. I did say there'd be one that featured twice. It was Postman Pat again and Michael Jackson. Not sure if those two still go so well. Question 8 was a little bit of a sort of spooky number. It was Bagpuss with the theme music from Stranger Things. Quite a haunting prospect. Right. So that was round 1. I'll come back to question 5. I want to double check that. I need to find my notes on that. Round 2. Where was Captain Tom born? He was born in Keighley in West Yorkshire. Round 2, question 2. In 1983, Captain Tom appeared on the Christmas special of Blankety Blank. Question 3. Captain Tom and portly crooner Michael Ball made it to the top of the UK charts, but who did they displace? It was The Weeknd. Which school hall was used to store all of those many, many birthday cards? It was Bedford School. Which 2 Royal Air Force aeroplanes flew over Captain Tom's house on his 100th birthday? It was a Spitfire and a Hurricane. Supermarine Spitfire and Hawker Hurricane. How many medals did Tom have on his birthday? Well, he was actually wearing 5, which was more than most days. If you look back at the footage of him doing his walks, etc., he didn't always have all of those on, but he had 5 on his birthday. I think he had one that was reissued by the army specially. So there you go. He had five medals. How much has he raised, or how much did he intend to raise? It was £5,000. Question just coming in on round 1. Is it 1 point per answer? So a total of 16. It's 1 point for each. So it's 1 point for each, both Rainbow and George Michael, for example. And the final question on the Captain Tom round was, how much did he actually raise? So I'm just going to check, because I've been keeping tabs on this. I don't know if he's just giving shut now, if it's still going. It was £32 million, £796,275. So he's done well. Okay. So that's the end of the Captain Tom appreciation round. Next was the moustache round. I did have a moustache briefly at the start of this week. That's now ancient history. More on that later. The the first moustache. If we're oh, I've just heard that there's a disagreement. There's a disagreement from our neighbours at number 3 over whether or not £1,000 was actually Captain Tom's original aim. Well, I can only go on what's on Captain Tom's Wikipedia page, and that's where most of this has come from. So I'll take 1,000 or 5,000. I'm not, look, he's done well. I don't want to get bogged down in a Captain Tom fundraising scenario. So we'll move on. We'll take either 1,000 or 5,000 for that. There's a grey area. Right, so moustaches. Let's get started. Moving across, we had Hitler, Pablo Escobar, and Daley Thompson. What a trio that is. We then had Field Marshal Horatio Herbert Kitchener. I would have just taken Kitchener on that, but full name was Horatio Herbert Kitchener. We then had the late Burt Reynolds, very reliable Burt Reynolds. Ned Flanders from The Simpsons was the cartoon. And then on the bottom layer, we had Rude Hullet, Graham Gooch, and Borat, the Sacha Baron Cohen character. So Rude Hullet, the Dutch international footballer, Graham Gooch, the cricketer, and Borat. So a good 9 people there. Right, moving on to round 4, which was the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire round. So to kick things off, we had, what type of vehicle was a Saturn V? It was a space rocket. The Apollo 11 space mission kicked off with a Saturn V rocket. So that was the first one. Next one, the song Get Me to the Church on Time featured in the musical My Fair Lady. Apologies though I didn't give you all 4 options on the clip. That was because he knew it before Chris Town allowed him to see the options. The guy, unfortunately, was one of those slightly annoying individuals who seemed to know all of the answers before Chris had actually given them to him. So I had to clip that bit out. What does... I'm not sure if I got these the wrong way around. What does a cryptologist study? It's codes. That may have come after. The DB range is associated with which car manufacturer? And that is Aston Martin. I'm not sure if I got those the wrong way around, but you, I'm sure, can figure that out for yourselves. In the 18th century, Capability Brown was best known for designing what? Was it wigs, theatre sets, pottery, or gardens? It was gardens. Capability Brown. Gardens. In which 20th century poet wrote The Wastelands? Was it Rupert Brooke, Ted Hughes, John Betjeman, or T.S. Eliot? The answer was T.S. Eliot. Which of these is a type of flower? Graham, George, Gordon, or Gerald? The answer is Graham. Still some debate going on over the Captain Tom fundraising initial target. Again, like we've got to move on. We can't get bogged down on that. So where were we? Which town provided the setting for TV's Little House on the Prairie? Was it Hazelnut Creek, Coconut Bay, Walnut Grove, or Chestnut Wood? It was, in fact, Walnut Grove. Never watched it, but there you go. Penultimate question. Which of these African countries is situated south of the equator? Ethiopia, Nigeria, Zambia, or Chad? The answer is Zambia. And finally, for £1 million, which scientific unit is named after an Italian? Which scientific unit is named after an Italian nobleman? Pascal, Ohm, Volt, or Hertz? The answer is Volt. Okay, right. So, moving on to the next round, which was the comedy characters and the comedy that they were in. There was quite a lot of them, so we're going to have to plough through these as quickly as we can. I think there's actually about 30 of them. So, top left, we had Alan Partridge from I'm Alan Partridge. We had Ali G from The Ali G Show. We had Arkwright, played by Ronnie Barker, from Open All Hours. Basil Fawlty from Fawlty Towers. Edmund Blackadder, Esquire, from Blackadder. Captain Mannering from Dad's Army. We had Compo, which was William Compo Simonite from Last of the Summer Wine, but Compo will suffice. David Brent from The Office. Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. Father Ted from Father Ted. You could have Father Ted Crilly, but Father Ted's enough. Fleabag from Fleabag. We had Fletcher from Porridge. Ronnie Barker appears more than once in this, I think. Some others do have him. Frank Spencer. I know my mate Razor, who's involved in the quiz tonight, big fan of Frank Spencer, so that's for him. Geraldine Granger, the Vicar of Dibley, portrayed by Dawn French. Tony Hancock from Hancock's Half Hour. That's quite an old one. I'm not sure how many people will have got that, but full name, Anthony Aloysius St. John Hancock. Known to most people as Tony Hancock from Hancock's Half Hour. Hyacinth Bouquet, Patricia Routledge as Hyacinth Bouquet in Keeping Up Appearances. Malcolm Tucker, The Thick of It. Margot Ledbetter, The Good Life, played by Penelope Keith. It was a good show. Martin Bryce, played by Richard Bryars. Martin Bryce in Ever Decreasing Circles. Miranda Hart from Miranda, or Miranda from Miranda. Mr. Bean in Mr. Bean. Agnes Brown from Mrs. Brown's Boys. Mrs. Merton from The Mrs. Merton Show. Nessa from Gavin and Stacey. Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous. Perry from Kevin and Perry Go Large, played by Kathy Burke. Rick, played by Rick Mail, from The Young Ones. Next one was the Leonard Rossiter character, Rupert Rigsby. Rigsby from Rising Damp, another old one. Then, last two, we had Sir Humphrey Appleby, Yes Minister, and Victor Meldrew from One Foot in the Grave. So, they are the answers for, I was going to say the first half. It's probably more than the first half. It's probably the first 3 quarters. So we've broken the back of the first bit of the quiz. So I'm just going to go and have a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back. We've got a couple more rounds, and we'll go from there. So get yourself a soft drink, and see you in a moment. 2. All right, okay, so that was the interval. Didn't take long. Right, moving on. We've got, I think, 3 more rounds left. Door slamming. 3 more rounds left in the quiz. So the next one is current affairs. So here we go. So you may have noticed I had graphics for the first few rounds and so forth. That's pretty much all gone. It's now just me asking questions. So round 6 is current affairs, loosely speaking. Right, let's wind that down slightly. So, okay. This is actually technically question 66, but round 6, question 1. Which 85-year-old will be on the cover of Vogue magazine's June edition? Which 85-year-old will be on the cover of the UK edition of Vogue magazine, their June edition? Did you get that? Was my volume turned down? I'm not sure if I faded myself down for that those first 2 questions, so I'm going to ask them again. So round 6, question 1 was which 85-year-old will be on the cover of Vogue magazine's June edition? Which 85-year-old will be on the cover of Vogue magazine's June edition? And then the next question was ITV have confirmed which reality TV show will be binned this summer. So which ITV reality show will be binned this summer? Not happening. Just to confirm, that is British Vogue magazine. Okay, moving on. We have question 3. Who has been told this week to remove a tweet promoting a teeth whitening kit after he did not make it clear that it was actually an advert? I'll say that one more time. Who this week has been told to delete a tweet promoting a teeth whitening kit after he did not make it clear that it was in fact an advert? Next question. Okay, I actually do need a graphic for this. So let me just flip this around. So Who this week confirmed they've named their baby that? I'm not even going to attempt to say that, but who this week confirmed that they have called their baby that? I think the sound's gone again. I'm back. Final question in this round. 3 rare editions of which book are expected to sell for thousands at auction, having been found in a school skip? This isn't the lip reading round. I'll get your comments. Thanks for your help. I know. I've just had a knock from next door. Right. So, which 3 rare editions of which book were found in a school skip and are now expected to go for thousands at auction? All right, that is the end of the so-called current affairs round. Moving on, it's time for Next question. The president of the MCC is set to be offered a further year in the role of MCC club president. Who is he? The president of the MCC is set to be offered a further year in the role as MCC club president. Who is he? Okay, so I've just put in the comments there that Camberwick Green and Starskin Hutch was the missing question that I wasn't sure about. I had a momentary lapse there. So that was the answer to round 1, question 4, I think it was. Basically the question that I didn't provide an answer for. So we have 1 round left. It is one that I used last time and thought we'd give another outing to. It's the Dead Quiz Show host round, for want of a better name. It's Bullseye. So here we go. I've got I think 4 or 5 questions from Bullseye. I will play the questions. I will play the questions and then I will summarise those questions again, and then we'll go through everything and give you the full answers. So, get rid of me. Here we go.
Which group of around 140 islands includes St Mary's, Tresco and Briar in its 5 inhabited islands? For £100, what is the name of the small independent state situated high in the Pyrenees between France and Spain? What type of fruit is a sturmer, spelled S-T-U-R-M-E-R? What name was given to the form of jazz music popularised in the mid-50s by Lonnie Donegan? In Greek legend, who killed his father and married his mother?
Okay, so that was the Bullseye round. Nice to see Jim Bowen again. So the first question was, which group of islands, 140 islands, includes St Mary's, Tresco and Brie in its 5 inhabited islands? Question 2. What is the name of the small independent state situated high in the Pyrenees between France and Spain? Question 3. What type of fruit is a sturma? Question 4. One for the kids. What name was given to the form of jazz music popularised in the 1950s by Lonnie Donegan? And finally, in Greek legend, who killed his father and married his mother? So I'll give you a couple of moments just to compose your thoughts, and then I'll come back with some answers. Okay. So, time for some answers, if you're ready. And let's get started. We started with round 6. Which 85-year-old will be on the cover of the British Vogue magazine's June edition? It is Dame Judi Dench. Well done. Well done, Judy. ITV have confirmed that Love Island is going to be cancelled this summer. Probably for the best. I think there was talks of it being hosted in Cornwall, which probably wouldn't have worked. And I did see that Frankie Boyle tweeted to say it probably wasn't the virus that they expected would cancel Love Island, but there you go. Who has been asked to remove a tweet promoting teeth whitening after he didn't make it clear it was an advert? Interestingly, this was Lord Alan Sugar. Lord Alan Sugar with the teeth whitening tweet. And it was Elon Musk and his partner, the singer Grimes, who this week confirmed they have named their baby whatever that was. If you look it up, there's various reasons for why they've named their baby X, and then so on. But yeah, it's not worth getting into now. And 3 Harry Potter books were found in a school skip after this was on the BBC website tonight, actually. The school was clearing up ahead of an Ofsted inspection and binned some very valuable Harry Potter books, which are now expected to raise thousands at auction for the skip dweller who lifted them. So I don't think the money's gone to the school as such, but whoever found them's done quite well out of it. So that was the current affairs. Moving on to sport, which former Equestrian Sport team captain was recently re-elected as the chairman of the World Rugby for another 4 years? It was Sir Bill Beaumont. The 53-year-old former boxer, reported to be in training for a 4-round exhibition charity bout, is Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson. You might have seen some footage of him hitting some pads this week. He looked absolutely awesome. So Mike Tyson's coming back to show us what he can do. Next question. Youssef Hassam has been banned for life from tennis for match fixing and other corruption offences. So that was tennis. The president of the MCC, Kumar Sangakkara, is being re-elected for another 1-year term. So Kumar Sangakkara re-elected as the MCC club president. And the golf is going to resume after a 2-month hiatus. Next week, Rory McIlroy, amongst others, will be playing in Florida. So I did say I was quite broad brush on the answer there. I can't remember what course it is. I don't actually know what course it is, but they're playing in Florida. So good luck to them. And moving on, that was the sports round. The final round, which was the bullseye round. Which group of 140 islands includes St. Mary's, Tresco and Beer? Beer. I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation now. I should have listened to Jim Bowen a little bit more. In its 5 inhabited islands, it is the Scilly Isles. So the answer is the Scilly Isles. Bullseye question 2. What is the name of the small independent state situated high in the Pyrenees between France and Spain? It is Andorra. Andorra. What type of fruit is a sturma? It's an apple. An apple. Penultimate question. What name was given to the form of jazz music popularised in the 1950s by Lonnie Donegan? It was skiffle. Skiffle. And final question of the evening. In Greek legend, who killed his father and married his mother? It was Oedipus. So that concludes the quiz for this evening. If you'd like to chuck your scores into the chat, we'll see how everybody got on. There may be a prize, there may not be a prize, subject to terms and conditions. But thank you very much for joining in. It's been a lot of fun, and thankfully the stream worked. It wasn't looking good at 8:06, I'll be honest, but we got there in the end. So chuck your final scores into the chat. If there's anything you need clarifying, please say, and I'll be happy to do so. If not, enjoy your bank holiday weekend. Cheerio. Okay, so in terms of how many questions, how many this was out of, I think if you add it all up, there was, oh my goodness, there was 79 lines on my spreadsheet, but there was 2 questions for the first round, so that was 16. Bear with me, I'll come back to you on how many this quiz is out of. I basically don't know, but if you could get your marks together, I will clarify that momentarily. I can confirm it's out of 118. So if you have 2 for all of the comedy characters and the show that they were in, and 2 for all of the first round, which was the cut and shut round, and then 1 for everything else, there is a total of 118 to get. So just looking at the scores, there's some pretty good ones coming in. Howard Johnson, 92. Well done, Dad. Claire Belisario, 104. I know that they did have an advantage on the comedy characters round because they saw it over the weekend. Various scores coming in on the ECB WhatsApp group. 96 from the Robsons. That's a strong effort. Gavin Bidgood 100. Well done to him. Nice to see you, Gav. So as it stands, it looks like nobody's beaten Claire Belisario on 104. I'd just like to reiterate that they did have visibility of the comedy characters round, so potentially that they are null and void and thrown out of the entire quiz. Roy Moret, 168. Unbelievable scenes. Not quite sure how that's happened. Bungle, 119. Strong. Yeah, out of 118. He's revised it. Well done, Roy. 69. Okay, well, more realistic. So that's probably it. Thanks very much. I really don't know if I can be bothered with another quiz after the trials of this evening, but it's been a lot of fun, and I am still raising money for the Ruth Strauss Foundation. There is a link somewhere. Thanks to everybody who's donated. It's been massively appreciated. Considering I've been sponsored well over £1,000 for not running a marathon, I think I've done all right. So thank you very much indeed. But yeah, that's it. James Ball 200. I doubt it. I think this is degenerating. So I'm going to go and finish my. I'm going to probably have another Corona. It's been great. So thanks for joining in, and see you later. All the best.